So we've had a day full of peaceful protests throughout many different streets. It is now technically, what's going on here? Are we punching this person?
Now they're trying to pull him out because the car started moving forward as officers were in there. Now they're breaking everything to get them out of the vehicle because they're resisting arrest now to get out of the vehicle. So this is, like I said, this was at the end of, they came up on the end of the march. I don't think they meant to. But as they were running away from Hollywood Boulevard to the north, they almost ran into the back of the march that was going on southbound on Bronson here.
So what I was saying was, we're now after curfew. So, all day long we've had these peaceful protests. Technically, you're not supposed to be in the street anymore. And my guess is that the police will probably give you some leeway if you're peacefully protesting and not bothering anybody. But if you do anything wrong now, they have the legal authority to take you under arrest, even just for a curfew violation. That gives them pretty broad authority to detain people and get them off the streets. And that's where we're at. And this, unfortunately, Christine, was around the time last night when we started seeing some problems.
Yeah, and to think that the car almost ran into protesters, when I saw cars driving along with the protesters who were marching peacefully, you had to wonder if there was going to be any kind of incident with those cars and the protesters. And then to see this here, people resisting getting out of the vehicle when the officers are telling them to exit the vehicle. I can only imagine the visual of what's going on there on the ground, but it looks like they were able to get that person out. The driver, though, is the concern because the car started moving with the officers right there.
Yeah, now as we go full screen, we get a better sense of what is going on here. It looks like that person is on the ground. Kevin, give us some more play-by-play.
Yeah, you know what? All three of them that were in the car were resisting, so they got in there, they punched the windows before they could lurch the car any farther forward there, because usually they had a lot of officers that were in front of the car. They were kind of dealing with that looting. What was suspected, those three suspects in the car were suspected of looting, and that's where the airship picked them up moving a high rate of speed coming southbound before they ran into the back of the march there. And then they did get the car stopped, but they had to move in front of it to block it in there because it was, they didn't want it to run into the back of the march that was going on southbound. It just about cleared down Santa Monica Boulevard, but it was moving at such a high rate of speed, and they did try to get away. They called it actually a pursuit for about 2 seconds, and then they came in and blocked it in before it could get any farther because of those people farther to the south here. Now you can see they've got 3 in custody now. And the mobile field force is coming in now because they're starting to attract. It's starting to attract a lot of people here. But the march that we were watching before has now moved significantly farther south on the other side of Hollywood Cemetery at this point. So this has kind of isolated itself from all those other people at this point. But now they're going to kind of clear the streets here. Like you said, it is after curfew now. So all these people, they're going to clear out of here.
I so appreciate your information and ability to get it so quickly, because when we first saw it, we just saw the car there and somebody hanging out the back window, in confrontation with officers. But to hear that this is the end of a short pursuit and they were chasing looters who were about to hit protesters, that gives you a completely different picture than if you were just to stumble upon the scene there.
Yeah, exactly. We spotted the vehicle here as it was commencing. So it pulled up against a few cars that were still at the end of the march, and they were talking with them, chatting with them there. The airship had them inside, and then they came forward. As soon as the black and whites came up behind them, they started to take off and move southbound. And they came up a little bit of traffic from the end of that march, and then they blocked it in very quickly there to handle that, because they didn't want it to go farther south into the march and hit any pedestrians or any other cars that were kind of following that march. And then they had the portion where the individual threw a bottle and some other stuff at the officers they had stopped the car, but they hadn't really gotten too involved in it yet. They had just finished stopping the car, and then when the items were thrown at the officers, so they moved over and took that person into custody. The car was still kind of sitting there And then just as they were done with the first suspect, we came back to the car and we're trying to get them to step out of the vehicle, but then it lurched forward. And that's when they broke the windows to get the suspects out of the vehicle.
All right.